Hello, friends, and welcome to Bottle and Bond, a discussion of the James Bond movies and lore alongside spirited companions. I am Mike Scott, and I have been watching James Bond movies for nearly 30 years, but have never really taken a deep dive into the history and lore of this film franchise. So, alongside my friend Charlie, we are going to delve into each of the 25 Eon-produced movies. During this episode, we will be enjoying a beverage or two that would pair nicely with the movie. Today we will be discussing the 14th movie in the franchise, 1985's A View to a Kill. So find your cigarette case, prepare your favorite cocktail, shaken not stirred of course, and leave your hat at the door while we ponder this question. Are we ready to bid a fond farewell to Roger Moore? This is episode 0014, A View to a Kill. Charlie, welcome.
Thank you, Mike. It's nice to see you.
You too. Haven't hung out a lot lately.
No, I know.
Busy.
Well, it's been busy.
Yeah. You did a little night running last night.
I did, yes, from 9 p.m. to midnight.
Well, you know what they say, night running deserves a quiet night.
It certainly does.
So how many miles did you do?
I think we ended up doing about 10. It was actually, because it was so dark and we had to run on some more rustic trails than usual, we had a lot of climbing over down trees and things like that. It took us much longer than it normally would in the day. But the friends I ran with started 2 hours earlier, so they actually ran from 7 to midnight. They're training for running 100 miles. And I'm going to pace for 25 miles for one of them. So, yeah. The other one doesn't need pacing. He'll probably just win the race or something. He's very fast. One of our listeners, Craig, in fact. Yeah.
Our famous British listener.
Exactly.
That's 24 more miles than I've ever ran, and in one attempt. So, congratulations.
Well, you know what? I didn't start until I turned 50, so you got time.
Yeah, I got like 20 years.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Nice. Yeah, so you got time before you need to start, and you'll be good.
Our companion beverages today, we're having a Kronenbourg 1664 Blanc. This is a French beer. We're still waiting for the Bollinger sponsorship until we get that. I mean, I'm not paying...
There is more Bollinger in this one.
Yeah, I'm not paying $70 for a champagne because I don't like champagne that much.
Yeah.
And then we're going to have a cable car cocktail.
Oh, I don't know what that is. I'm excited to find out.
And the Countess Tracy's not here right now, so we may have to
do it ourselves.
Yeah.
So we might not get a true reading, is what you're saying.
Right.
It's possible that ours will be inferior to what we might get.
Most likely.
Okay.
Errors and omissions. I had mentioned in a couple of episodes Howard Hughes as somebody that's been involved in the Bond films, and Howard Hughes is in fact involved in the Bond films. It's just not the Howard Hughes that we know as the
fascinating
Mr. Spruce Goose or whatever else he did.
Right.
Yeah, the notorious recluse or whatever. I can't find any information about this Howard Hughes, so if anybody knows anything, feel free to let me know.
Fascinating.
One listener comment. This is in relation to the Octopussy episode. We had a poll that went up that asked which clown you preferred, and Countess Tracy was disappointed because Fizbo the clown was not one of the options.
Oh, is that right?
From the great TV show Modern Family.
Yes.
Got a few news items today. First off, not very, very tangentially Bond related, but I've been going through a lot of horror movies lately. I now have watched all of the Jason and Freddy movies up to the ones before Freddy versus Jason. And I watched...
Quite an accomplishment.
Yeah, right? I know. And I watched a movie, Friday the 13th Part 6, Jason Lives. And in that movie, at the beginning, it almost feels like a Bond movie. There's like a pre-credits scene.
Okay.
And then at the end of the pre-credits scene, they zoom in on Jason's eye, and he walks across the screen and turns and slashes his knife just like the Bond gun barrel.
Like the gun barrel?
Yeah.
Nice.
I'll post a little link for the
It is pretty
iconic.
Fun, I can see it's, that's a good one.
There's another James Bond casting rumor for Bond 26. basically stating that Denis Villeneuve is looking for an unknown British actor. So they're going to try to find somebody that's not
Oh,
all the
really?
popular names. So,
Okay.
yeah, go for it. Why not?
Yeah, sure.
GoldenEye is going to be back in theaters for one day only. If you
Saw that.
have an Alamo Draft House near you that's actually going to play it, because the one near us is actually not going to play it,
Ugh.
but they are going to do that on October 3rd, which almost timed out perfectly. We're almost to GoldenEye, but not quite there.
Yeah.
We also want to mention that Charlie and I did walk on coals. We didn't see the big fuss. Our feet are fine. Don't fact check that. Thank you. Oh, yes. Charlie is wearing his Drax Enterprise Corporation shirt. That's a new one.
Yes.
You bought
I
another
got a
one.
new
Look
one.
at you.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, I
Yes.
see how my gifts are treated. No, I'm just kidding.
I'm just adding on.
I know. He's going to have one for every villain.
Boy, I
I'm
hope
waiting.
so.
He actually arrived in the Zoran Industries blimp. It was very
I
nice
did,
of Max
right?
Zoran to
Just landed in the front
let him
yard
borrow that. Yeah.
after I pushed some guy out into the retention pond over
Yes.
behind my house.
Nice. All right, let's do the plot summary. After skiing, snowboarding, slapping, and tickling in Siberia with an agent young enough to be his daughter, James Bond is sent to investigate a surplus of microchips being produced by industrialist Max Zorin, who is in no way based on any real person or entity. His investigation first takes him to France, where he pursues Zorin's henchwoman Mayday after she killed a French investigator helping 007. Bond then meets the mysterious woman named Stacy Sutton, who is being paid off by Zorin. After losing his manservant slash sidekick Tibbet, Bond travels to San Francisco to further investigate Zorin's plot. With the help of CIA red shirt Chuck Lee and the geologist Stacy Sutton.
For those of you at home, he does have geologist in quotes.
Yes.
And he did air quotes in the room, which you could not see.
Bond discovers Zorin's insane plot to flood Silicon Valley so that he can have full control of the microchip market. Bond and Sutton work together to sabotage Zorin's plan with a late assist by Mayday. Bond then hitches a ride on the Hinden Zorin, eventually dispatching with the psychotic villain and his remaining henchmen. No ending on a boat this time, just shower time with Sutton. But Bond sets a new career high with 4 slap and tickles in just over 2 hours. Not bad at the ripe old age of 57.
Yes.
A view to a kill. Geologist. I thought the
I know.
emphasis was enough.
Yeah, yes.
Our cast. We have Roger Moore as James Bond for the 7th of 7 appearances. Shout out to Roger Moore. The guy, everything I've done, all the research I've done over these, and I know there's plenty of people that don't like him as James Bond. I get the complaints. He's not the suave, Connery type. I understand. But A, everything I read, everybody loved working with him. Super nice guy.
Yeah.
B, he loved being Bond and loved talking about being Bond more than any other Bond, I think.
Yeah, I feel like he's a fairly charming James
Yes.
Bond, right? Like you like him.
Yeah, I
and
think
you can
it's-
see why people like him.
Yes, I think it's better that we've had different kinds of Bonds because it would have. I couldn't imagine like a Connery type doing all these kind of goofy movies.
Right.
We have Christopher Walken as Max Zorin. We have Tanya Roberts as Stacy Sutton. Grace Jones as Mayday. Patrick Macney as Sir Godfrey Tibbet, who actually was well known for the TV show The Avengers and had actually done a Sherlock Holmes movie with Roger Moore previously.
Oh, wow.
We have Patrick Bauchot as Scarpine, Fiona Fullerton as Pola Ivanova, Manning Redwood as Bob Conley, Allison Doody as Jenny Flex, Willoughby Gray as Dr. Carl Mortner, also known as Hans Glaub, Desmond Llewellyn as Q, 12th of 17 appearances, Robert Brown as M, 2nd of 4 appearances, Lois Maxwell as Miss Moneypenny, 14th and final appearance as Moneypenny.
Ah, we'll miss her.
We have Walter Gotell as General Gogol, 5th of 6 appearances, and Jeffrey Keane as Sir Frederick Grey, who has actually been in quite a few. Probably the next, if he's in another one, I'll add how many times he's done them. This was directed by John Glenn. This time it was actually the astronaut.
Okay, good.
Yeah, so this particular one, the astronaut directed.
That guy shouldn't just rest on his laurels just because you go to space.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
Screenplay by Richard Maibaum and Michael G. Wilson. Music by John Barry. Cinematography by Alan Hume. And production design by Peter Lamont. Theme song, A View to a Kill by Duran Duran. Music and lyrics by John Barry and Duran Duran. This was to date, the only Bond theme song to hit number one.
Okay, did you read anything about the making of this song? Because I did.
We'll have to go into it.
Yeah.
Go ahead. This is
Yeah,
the time.
so supposedly, John Taylor of Duran Duran is at a party.
Yes.
And Cubby Broccoli is there. And I read varying quotes about what he actually said. One said, are you ever going to get anyone good to do a Bond theme? And the other quote was supposedly that he'd give him £5 or something if he could do the Bond theme. But ultimately, either way, he introduced him to John Barry, and they started working together. And, Duran Duran said, we had these ideas, and John Barry didn't really come up with the ideas. We came up with these ideas, but John Barry took all our ideas and put the good ones together and threw out the bad ones. And he was great at doing these interesting chord changes. And apparently they worked together for a while, and they all got along super great. Like, they all just worked really well together, and they acted like it was just a great time making that song.
Awesome.
But just based on John Taylor being at a party with Cubby Broccoli. But how lucky are we, because it produced an outstanding Bond theme.
Did it? Well, we'll find out. We'll find out at the end what I really think of this song.
Okay.
Release details. This one premiered in the U.S., actually, May 22nd, 1985, at the Palace of Fine Arts in San Francisco, which I've actually seen. UK premiere, June 12th, 1985, at the Odeon Leicester Square.
Yes.
The budget adjusted for inflation, $66.1 million. Worldwide box office adjusted for inflation, $395.4 million. 24th out of 25. That
really
did not do well. It was a stinker.
No, I guess not. That's interesting because, I remember the promotion for it. It was definitely promoted. They kind of played up the whole Eiffel Tower thing and all this stuff. And maybe it's also that I saw that music video a million times, right? Which takes place on the Eiffel Tower. Have you watched the music video?
I did watch the music video.
Yeah, it's good.
It's not bad. It's not bad.
It's fine.
I do believe that the 25th ranked James Bond movie will be one of the next two.
Okay.
Did you see this in the theater, you think?
Yes. Oh, we were excited to see it. Grace Jones was in it, and she was just kind of a striking presence back in that day, as you might imagine.
Yeah.
She was. And the Duran Duran theme song, we were super excited to see this movie.
My only memory of this is that I think I hated it the first time I watched it.
Really?
Many years ago.
Yeah.
Let's go to the scene-by-scene breakdown. But the disclaimer up front, the name Zorin is fictional and has no relation to any real entity or anything. And they had to put this in there because there was actually a company in Silicon Valley named Zoran or something. It wasn't the exact same spelling, but
close
it was close
enough.
But they were threatening a lawsuit. So they said, okay, we'll put this disclaimer up front. And they're like, okay, fine. So we start off on the slopes in Russia. This was filmed in Switzerland, Iceland, and at Pinewood.
Boy, they love the skiing in these Bond movies,
and
don't they?
Here in a second, I'll tell you a little tidbit. So first off, we see Bond finding the body of 003. I guess 007, you're least likely to die, so that's the best number to have.
Apparently, right? The other 00s seem like they're not nearly as good as he is.
He recovers a necklace that has a microchip inside of it. Then he goes on a ski escape. And Willy Bogner, your favorite guy, worked on the ski scenes and suggested the snowboard scene that we eventually get in here.
Well, that is fascinating. I have things to discuss about that.
So the Russians are pursuing Bond, and he commandeers some sort of snowmobile after hooking the rider, and the rider gets pulled off.
That was a pretty good trick, right? To put that grappling hook down and then ski down and put it on the back of the snowmobile guy.
Eventually, the snowmobile is blown up. Bond is going down on skis. One of his skis gets broken, and he goes one-legged.
He goes one-skied for a while, which I'm here to tell you is not easy.
I imagine not.
Yeah. Well, normally you don't want to because you'd have to walk back up the mountain to get your other ski.
Yeah.
If you lose one, you might as well just sit down in the snow because the farther you go, the longer walk you have back up that mountain in ski boots to get your other one.
Now you'll have to help me with this part because so eventually, the skis are broken, and
Yeah.
then he puts on this snowboard. Was that on the snowmobile, or was it
Yes,
just
that was the
okay?
ski from it was a
Okay.
broken ski from the snowmobile.
Gotcha.
Yes.
That's kind of what I was thinking, but I wanted to make sure.
Yeah.
And
Which just happened to have spots in the exact right places that would fit ski boots to
very
strap
convenient.
in there.
Very
Yes.
convenient. From here, Bond, we get along with the slide whistle and the Tarzan sound effect, we get the Beach Boys song, California Girls, not even performed by the Beach Boys.
No, because it costs less, I'm
Yes.
sure, right?
While Bond's skiing down this hill.
Okay. Why California Girls?
Who knows?
How many surfing songs do those guys have?
Yeah.
They have Surfin' Safari. They have Surfin' USA. Now they're in Siberia, so I'd go with Surfin' Safari because it talks about going all around the world surfing.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you do California Girls?
Who knows?
Terrible.
Yeah.
We need to look up when David Lee Roth did his California Girls. Maybe it was very popular at the time because he.
I think it was probably around that time. That sounds
might
about
be.
right.
It might be. Get our fact checkers on that.
Yeah. Of course, all of these scenes. This is definitely Roger Moore doing all this stuff. He's
Oh,
57, so he's
Totally. He's
certainly able
definitely snowboarding. And honestly, snowboarding was not really that popular at the time.
Okay.
Just from my having skied, it was starting to be a thing, and most skiers were sort of irritated by it because the snowboarders would mess up all the snow the way you want it for skiing and the way you want moguls and the way you put the tracks in the snow, and the snowboarders want these half pipes and various things
Yeah.
that are taking our mountain away from us and stuff. And now I suspect more people snowboard than ski,
Oh,
but
really?
I really don't know.
I've
It
heard
might be more
snowboarding's
evenly
harder.
split.
Have you snowboarded?
I have not snowboarded.
I've heard
so
it is
I really
harder to
can't
do.
tell you. It's probably harder to be really good, but
Yeah.
it might be easier to start. But what if I know? I know nothing. One of our listeners, many listeners, can write
Yes.
into us and tell us.
How cool was the snowboard going across the water, though? I did like
It
that.
was
I liked
very
that a lot.
cool the way it skimmed across the water. I loved that.
So eventually, Bond, he's being pursued by a helicopter. He takes out the helicopter and then gets away on a submarine that was disguised as an iceberg. On the submarine with him is
I did love how the little hatch goes up and it's got the British flag on it, so
Union
he
Jack.
can see
Yeah.
where the sub is.
And that is Kimberly Jones is the character in there. She's asking him some questions, and he quips, well, it was crowded on the piece, which I assume is some ski term. Crowded on the piece.
Sure.
Okay.
I don't know. I haven't heard that one. Maybe it's a European ski term.
He does bring along his beluga caviar and his very well shaken vodka.
Of course he does.
We should have brought
And it is
beluga
good.
caviar.
It's good that when the British Secret Service designs a sub, they don't make it like all industrial and military inside. It's all covered in plush
Oh, yeah, it's
white
like a bachelor pad,
surfaces
yeah.
and then has a little thing come up for a bed. Yeah, totally. I mean, that's definitely the way governments outfit their vehicles.
We get our first slap and tickle with someone young enough to be his granddaughter.
Yeah.
And that's
I
kind of the
know.
reason Roger Moore was like, I am done after this one. He's
Yeah.
like, he was starting to feel creepy himself about some of
Okay, I
these
have a
pairings.
question also about this sub.
Yes.
So he tells her to put it on autopilot, but then there's a throttle handle right next to the bed where you would definitely locate the throttle for that sub so that he can push it and the sub lurches forward and she falls back into the bed.
Yeah.
I'm like, why would you locate the throttle handle back there by the bed?
Maybe it was a different kind of throttle.
It must have been.
Now we get our opening credits where we get to hear the mid song of View to a Kill by Duran
nice,
Duran.
Nice try.
Is this the best opening credits ever? Because I love these opening credits. I love
They're
the
very
neon.
good.
I love
They're
the
very
neon.
good.
I
Neon's
love
good.
the
You're definitely they're getting out of they definitely keep lightening up the silhouettes of the naked ladies,
Yeah.
don't they? They're getting to the point where you definitely see skin of naked
Yes.
ladies at this point.
I enjoy the dancing in the fire.
Yeah,
Now, what do you think about the nude skiers? Have you ever skied in the nude?
I have not. But, if you spring skied out in Colorado, you definitely see people skiing in shorts and stuff like that and bikinis. You see women ski in bikinis in spring skiing in Colorado. So it could be possible, Mike.
Okay.
I'm not I'm not up for it because can you imagine if you do fall how that snow feels on your bare butt?
I did.
Probably not great.
I did have a friend named Bruce. Bruce spring skied, but
Oh my gosh.
that has
You
been.
had to just come up with that on your own.
I literally just did, and that
Wow.
is quite possibly the worst joke I've ever made on this show.
Boy, I think it probably is. Just like we rank the quips, we may have to go back and find these various jokes and we'll rank those when we're done with Bond films.
Back to the nude ski scene, real quick.
Yes.
There was one point where there was a girl on her back with her legs up in like the giving birth position.
Yeah.
I thought that was a little odd.
There was definitely some ballet skiing in there, though. So that's
Yes.
where you have, I think I've mentioned this before, like backward skiing, you have to have tips on both ends of your skis so that you can turn in circles and go backwards and stuff like that. It looked like some pretty, very technical, difficult skiing that was in the opening scene.
It's kind of weird that these two were supposed to be nude, but the male skier, there was no tips there.
No, right. But every time they show Bond in those opening credits, you can tell he's got his full suit on, right?
Yes.
But the ladies
Yeah.
are all undressed.
So after this,
So I'm pretty sure we know that men are making this movie.
yeah. After this mediocre song, we're now at MI6. Bond, one last time, has an unworn hat that he is going to fling onto the rack, but does not because there's another hat there.
I do have one thing I need to get
Yes.
to on the song. They were about 2 measures from that song ending in the opening credits, and instead they stopped the song before it ends. They couldn't wait like 2 measures
Yeah.
to let them get to the end of that
Gotta
song.
time that stuff out, right?
Go
I
back and
guess.
watch it. Come on, guys.
I mean, it could have been worse. They could have faded out. That's your favorite thing,
I know.
right?
They might have faded out. I don't know. Whatever it was, they could have let the song get to the end.
So seeing Bond here, doesn't it look like he got some sort of eye tuck or something? His eyes look very different from the previous movie. They look
Yeah.
different.
It'd be interesting to see like pictures side
Yeah.
by side of all this, and they could have done something different with his makeup. Like maybe they're doing a lot more at
Yeah.
this point because of age. It's hard to tell, but he and Moneypenny clearly are aging.
Yes.
Now, of course, if you're the secretary, you're allowed to age.
Oh, yeah, why not?
Right. But if you're James Bond,
But if you're
like,
flirting with Bond, if you're
well,
gonna have a
maybe
new
she
Bond,
should be flirting with.
Yes.
Like they're age appropriate,
yes.
right? Actually, they should get together now and go. We're both so old. Let's just get together.
right? Maybe they do.
But he's a little old for these adventures. He'd probably be sitting in an office by then. Like maybe he'd be M or something.
Yeah. So we do get a little quip here. Moneypenny asks him, or something like he looks tired or something. He said the trip back from Siberia took a lot out of me.
Wow.
Bond meets with Q, M, and the Minister of Defense. Q's showing off his new RC car that's some spy thing. It's very inconspicuous.
I said robot dog. I had written
Robot
in my
dog.
notes. Yes. I mean, oh yeah, it was outstanding.
Yeah, great spy work with that.
Yeah. I mean, that thing would be totally inconspicuous.
But if we see it now, we're going to see it later.
Unfortunately, we are.
So they're talking microchips and magnetic pulses, a bunch of sciencey stuff. Bond, of course, once again shows he knows something about everything because he's able
Yeah,
to have a good conversation about it. Q shows a chip that is impervious to EMPs, electromagnetic pulses, which basically would knock out everything on the chip. And, that's the big terrorist act thing that is in movies and TV shows all the time. Oh, they're going to shoot off an EMP and everything's going to die.
And how does he show it?
The microfilm or an
The
overhead
micro
projector?
comparator.
Oh, okay.
And it superimposes the one picture over the top of the other picture. The one moves slowly across the screen on top of the other. Like the way computers were back then, some guy probably worked on that for like days just to get that little picture to like move to the left until it's directly on top of the other one.
Yeah. So they look at these chips. They say they're made by Zorin Industries, headed by Max Zorin, who's a French industrialist. So now we are going to a day at the races. It's always convenient that M, Moneypenny, Q, and Bond are the specific people that, when out in the field, they all attend these things together. It's always those four. You know, we never see any
There are no
people.
other employees
Yeah.
at this agency except other 00 agents who have a habit of dying.
Yeah.
You never see like a living. There's the one scene in one movie where they get all of the 00s together in those chairs.
Yes.
Remember? But that's like the only time you ever see another living 00 agent, except the clown who dies.
To
You see
this
him for
point,
a little bit. Yeah.
You will get to see 006 quite a bit in a little bit. A few more movies. So we have all these horses. There's no airplanes in any of these horse patoots.
No, there are not. But I like how everyone has to wear like a special costume to these horse races with that same top hat. They're all wearing the same top hat.
This is the only time Bond actually, Roger Moore's Bond actually is wearing a hat.
Right. But they're all wearing the same hat at the same time at the horse race. I guess that's what you have to wear to a horse race in England.
M and Bond are chit-chatting, spying on Zorin as they spot him with Mayday, played by Grace Jones. Very popular at the time for... She's like a performance artist, but also did like music, I think.
Well, she started out as a model.
Yeah.
She started out as a model, apparently in France, because she couldn't get anyone to take notice of her in New York, and went to France and then became fairly famous modeling for a bunch of, French companies and other people and stuff like that. And then she sort of stopped modeling and she wanted to be an actress and had been in a few minor roles and things like that. So here she was. But for whatever reason, we definitely knew who she was at the time. She'd been in enough stuff that
just one of those presences, that you'd see on things. Moneypenny's pissed because she spent a bunch of money on that giant hat, but she picked the losing horse.
I know, right.
Bond eventually meets Sir Godfrey.
Bond had picked Zorin's horse.
Bond picked the right
so
horse. Bond picked the horse Pegasus.
Yep.
They meet with the guy by the name of Sir Godfrey Tibbett, who questions the speed of the horse that won, which was the Pegasus horse.
Yeah.
Tibbet's
in the last furlong or something.
Yeah, very quickly at the end. Tibbett says the Jockey Club hired a detective named Aubergine to look into the horse's performance. We see Mayday kind of taming the wild horse, and Q making his little quip. She must take a lot of vitamins.
I loved the vitamins part. I knew that was going to come up.
See, I know how to pronounce some British words the British way.
Right.
Like aluminium.
Right.
And Leicester Square.
For all our British fans.
Yeah. And like you said already, Bond bet on the winning horse and gave the ticket to Moneypenny with a promise of dinner. We are now going to be going to Paris so that Bond can talk with this Aubergine detective guy. And with that, we're going to take a quick break and get our drink.
All right.
We are back with our drink. This is a Kronenbourg Blanc. I've only had the regular Kronenbourg 1664 Blanc, made in France.
It's very hard to come by a beer that you have not had, Mike. So
I'm excited.
This is quite a feat.
Cheers.
Cheers. That is as mild as I can imagine, but it does have a little bit of a taste. It's not mild
lemon.
like a Coors Light, but it's mild. Yes, it has a little bit
I get a lemon flavor there. I get a little wheat. Very drinkable.
Definitely the wheat. You can tell the wheat is in there.
It's very drinkable.
Yeah, it's good.
I have to log it now. So let me log
like
it.
right now. Yeah. Right. Like we can't wait until after the show.
We can cut this part.
No, we're not cutting this. This is great podcasting right here, listening to you log this on your phone. How many does this put you up to now, Mike?
This puts me, and I'm giving it I'm going to give it a 4. I'm going to give it a 4.
Wow.
And this is now my 3,854th unique beer that I've logged on Untapped. And I just hit 9 years on Untapped. It's a great app for somebody that's obsessive compulsive about collecting things and making lists.
Or maybe an unhealthy app for someone who's obsessive compulsive about making lists.
Could be.
Look at it either way.
Could be. That's a good beer, though. I like that. I actually like it a little better than I thought I was going to. I thought it was going to be a little blander. I think it's got some good flavor.
Yeah, I agree. It's more interesting than I thought in that it has a flavor unlike sort of anything exactly that I've ever had.
A little bit of a saison, a little bit of a wheat. Yeah. It's good stuff. We are in Paris. I personally have been to the Eiffel Tower in Cincinnati many
Really?
times. Yeah.
So have I. I didn't notice a diving board at the top
Yeah.
of it, though.
Still looking for that Cincinnati Tourism Bureau sponsorship. By the way, there is an Eiffel Tower at an amusement park called Kings Island, just outside of Cincinnati, that I went to a bunch as a kid.
If you haven't seen Kings Island, be sure to watch The Brady Bunch.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Bond meets with that French detective named Aubergine, and they're enjoying a 75 Bollinger.
Why wouldn't you?
The detective requests a Lafitte Rothschild 59. These are things that just mean nothing to me, but
Which
sure.
they definitely have at
Yeah.
the restaurant in the Eiffel Tower. Is there actually a restaurant in the Eiffel Tower? Do you know?
I've never actually been to the real
No,
one.
I haven't either. But
There's not one at the one in Kings Island. I can
no,
tell you
there
that.
isn't. I should have looked it up because I thought, wow, there's a restaurant in the Eiffel Tower. What a convenient spot for one. But maybe there is.
They're discussing Zorn's dossier, which doesn't have a ton of information about him, so Bond's going to have to look into that more. They're watching this woman do some weird thing with these butterflies on strings while
Well,
this is
she's
all going
like
on.
dancing, and
Yeah.
there's somebody else in a totally black outfit on
Dangling
a
the
balcony
butterflies.
dangling the butterflies, and she's like dancing with the butterflies or something.
Yeah, and then
But there's nothing more predictable than what happens next.
Yes.
In my opinion.
of course,
I the second I saw this scene,
Yeah,
I
'cause-
knew what was going to happen.
Mayday decided she wanted to go fishing. For some reason, she decided to go inside of a restaurant to do it, and she hooks Aubergine and kills him very, very easily.
Because she knows they're going to be there eating lunch.
Yeah.
She knows he's going to get a table right next to the stage. It just works out
Perfect.
perfectly.
Somebody runs up and asks what happened, and Bond gets a little quip there. There's a fly in his soup.
I thought that was a bit cold myself.
Yeah.
The guy just died right in front of him. Which, by the way, whatever was in that little hook that was on the butterfly apparently kills you instantly.
Maybe it was a bullet with butterfly wings.
Oh, wow. These are, you're really getting these. These aren't written down, folks.
Off the cuff. He's now chasing Mayday up the Eiffel Tower. Definitely the easiest way to escape. Oh. Wait,
Right,
just-
to run up the Eiffel
Yes.
Tower. I know, and I'm guessing at 57, Bond was not too thrilled about shooting this scene running up the stairs of the Eiffel Tower.
Yeah.
He probably hadn't been running 10 miles, you know.
We didn't hear him.
and
We didn't
keeping
hear
in
him
shape.
panting though, so he probably
No.
only had to run up a flight or two.
Yeah, I'm guessing, yes. They did not show him running up long expanses
Yeah.
of steps.
Mayday eventually gets to the top. Bond hitches her right on an elevator, but Mayday, once she gets to the top, she jumps off. And this was very interesting how they did this scene, because I think you kind of mentioned it. They had to time like the jump and the shoot perfectly, and they could
Yeah.
really only do it one time. They got permission to do it like one time, and the stuntman that did it, whose name escapes me at the moment, but he did have to. They did decide they were going to put a little platform out.
So
he had a little
maybe
more
could
space.
avoid killing himself
Yes.
by running into the Eiffel
Yes.
Tower. Probably a good call.
It's funny though, the jump part, because obviously the jump part was filmed, just the part showing her jumping spread armed.
Right.
That was originally going to be a stunt person that did that, but Grace Jones was like, "No, just step aside. I'll do that part," because it was just.
But she
jumping
just
and
jumps
landing.
onto a foam
Yes,
thing that's
yes.
like 2 feet below her, I
Yeah.
imagine, right? Yeah.
But she still wanted to do it herself.
Yeah,
And
well,
another
that's
thing
good.
about Mayday, obviously she has some very exotic looking clothes and stuff.
And her hair is exotic in
Yeah.
a lot of these scenes.
But the clothes, it was interesting hearing the director talk about that, because he's like, yeah, she brought her own fashion designer in to work with our costume designer to make her look for the movie. And it's like, we had to make sets of clothes for 3 people for this, because we had to do hers,
sure,
and then we
the
had to do the
stunt
stunt
people.
people and
Yeah.
stuff. So,
Well, she was a fashion model, right? So I
Yes.
could see her being very particular about
And they were
how
cool.
She, looks.
She looked
oh,
cool
yeah.
the
she
whole
was,
movie.
She was very noticeable. Everything she wore looked very high fashion.
After Mayday escapes, Bond jumps down on an elevator. Very excellent editing of this scene to make it look like Roger Moore actually jumped on top of an elevator, because it
Yeah.
like cuts really weird.
Yeah.
He eventually finds and commandeers a Renault 2 to chase down Mayday. Quite
A
possibly
Renault.
Renault, sorry.
Yeah, it's fine.
I forgot.
For our
This
French
is-
listeners.
Yeah, this is French. The car loses its top at one point. We clearly can tell there that Roger Moore is driving it. Then the car
Yes.
gets T-boned and loses its back end. Clearly see Roger Moore's driving it there too. And eventually Mayday ends up on a party boat. Now let's go back to this car real quick. Could
Yeah.
that actually happen? Like if that happened, was
Well,
there any way it would be drivable, you think?
you may be surprised to know that I was considering this in my mind as I was watching this scene. The top part is silly, but could probably happen.
Yes.
Okay. The split in half part, it is a front wheel drive car.
Okay.
But cars need like this little thing called gasoline
I was
to
going to
keep
ask.
going.
Then the gas tank's not in the front, is
And
it?
the gas tank is very certainly in the back of the car. And I imagine some other significant pieces of the car may be compromised. But it is possible, though. I mean, if you've got a front-wheel drive car and the motor's up front, if it had gas, the back, it's just taking it along for the ride. It's possible.
All right.
But yeah, without fuel, that was the part I thought was silliest. It might also be extremely difficult to control and drive that car, but who knows? It was funny, at least.
Mayday lands eloquently on this party boat where there's a wedding happening, and then Bond gets on there and just crashes through the ceiling and destroys the wedding cake.
Yes.
That's clear. That was clearly Roger Moore dropping down from the ceiling too. It definitely was not a dummy or anything.
No, not at all. But I mean, did she know she was going to land on a boat? Like, she didn't even know she was going to be chased.
Yeah.
But she
And then,
parachutes out.
Just to continue to suspend disbelief, then we have Zorin driving up in a
In a
speedboat
boat
to pick her up.
because he knows she's going to land on this moving boat, which may or may not have been exactly at that point at that exact time.
I mean, I guess you could say, because clearly she was assigned to go there and kill that detective, so maybe that was her escape plan the whole time.
So I was discussing these various things this morning as I did my second watch with Becky, and I was pointing some of these things out, and she goes, "So is this like the part where you ruin the movie for everyone?" And I said, "Yes, it is."
Yes, it is.
Did you notice the yellow headlights in the Renault?
I did not.
So in France, not anymore, but for most of the time, their cars all had yellow headlights, not white headlights
Interesting.
like the rest of us. Because for whatever reason, they felt it was safer to have yellow headlights.
Okay.
And it's very noticeable, or was, when you were in Europe, that like, oh, that's a French car. It's got yellow headlights.
Interesting. Bond is in the
It's
car.
very important.
Yeah. Bond is in the car with him discussing his failures. They talk about Zoran's going to be having a stud sale nearby. Charlie and I weren't invited to this stud sale for whatever reason. I mean, I don't know why.
It's hard to imagine.
But Zoran's having a stud sale, so Bond and Tibbet are going to go check it out.
Can you imagine how much we'd go for at a stud sale? Like
2 bits, just like Groundhog Day.
our wives would have to bid.
Yeah. So we're at this nearby palatial estate. I mean, it looks like Versailles or something. It's really cool looking.
I mean, it's pretty spectacular.
Yeah. Bond arrives as James St. John Smythe. And this is another of those weird, and I didn't know that. Here's a little interesting tidbit. So he calls himself St. John Smythe
Yes.
for St. John. St. John Smythe. I didn't know this. I didn't understand why he was saying St. John in the movie
didn't either.
until I read Jane Eyre. Because in Jane
really?
Eyre, I'm reading the book, but I was also listening to the audiobook at points during it. And there was a character, St. John, and they kept saying St. John on the audiobook. So that's how I understood what the heck
I
this was
had
going on.
no idea where they came. I'm like, why is he calling himself these various different things? That's fascinating. By the way, people, Jane Eyre, terrific book.
It is. It's a 5-star book. I love
Yeah,
that book.
It's really good.
The car Bond arrives in is a 1962 Rolls-Royce Silver Cloud 2. This was Cubby Broccoli's personal car.
I saw that same tidbit. Supposedly, it's also in Thunderball, but with a different paint job. Now, I don't know. These things are hard to verify, right? But yeah, I saw a picture online of a Rolls-Royce in Thunderball that was a different color, but they think it's the same car.
Interesting. Bond meets Zorn's henchman by the name of Scarpine. He inquires about purchasing Pegasus's brother, who's for sale for about $3 million. And while he's doing this, Tibbet is
Quite reasonable.
yeah. Tibbet is doing some dirty work, checking out the stables. He sees this.
By the way,
yeah,
the way Bond treats Tibbet and the things he
So
says
awesome.
to him to demean him
Yes.
as his servant are really funny.
I think you and I need to go undercover, and you can be my servant because I would really love to do that.
I know. Well, you can tell Bond's having a great time, totally putting him down about how he's doing everything wrong and making him carry when he makes him carry all his bags
It's
and
so
everything.
funny.
It is very, very funny. And when they're alone and talking, obviously the guy who's playing Tibbet is very irritated by the
Yeah,
whole thing, and Bond's like, "Well, we have to keep up our appearance, right?" But
yeah.
that was very funny. But I like Tibbet, right? He's just a horse trainer
Yes.
who's getting, to be
Getting
part
to
of
go
it.
undercover with James
going
Bond.
undercover.
Tibbet sees this crazy old Nazi doctor come in to inspect Pegasus. He then wants to take a closer look at Pegasus himself, but at that point, the horse had disappeared, and he has no idea what happened to him. But yeah, like you said, Bond having a great time treating Tibbet like his manservant.
Yes.
Bond arrives at his accommodations. He meets somebody by the name of Jenny Flex. That's a pretty good name. And they have a little back and forth where he says, "Well, my dear, I take it you spent a lot of time in the saddle." And she says, "Yes, I love an early morning ride." And Bond quips, "I'm an early riser myself."
Oh boy.
Bond continues to hassle Tibbet as they get into the room. Or as they go up to the room, we see Mayday looking at him from
Fortunately,
afar.
like 2 doors down from his room,
yeah,
in a mansion that would appear to have 500
yeah.
rooms.
exactly. Bond is helping Tibbet with the luggage by taking the umbrella from him,
That
really
was
easing his burden.
great. Oh, let me help you. And he pulls out just the umbrella, and they're like
Tibbet's just like, "Thank you, sir."
5 suitcases.
As we did learn in Octopussy, it's always important to have an umbrella around, just in case you need to like wedge it onto a gas pedal so you can
That's
jump
right.
onto a train.
Yes.
They're chit chatting and just having inane conversation while they're checking for bugs in the room. And
Well, he's hassling him a lot, right? He's going ultra hard on him while they do the bug checking.
Yeah.
It's very funny.
Bond plays that tape so he can talk with Tibbet on the balcony. That's where he makes his comments about keeping up appearances or whatever because of
Yeah.
being the manservant. They do spot that crazy old Nazi over at the stables. Then Bond sees a mysterious woman arrive via helicopter. This is Tanya Roberts. For me, she's best known as being on that 70s show as
Right.
Donna's mom.
Yep.
But Bond makes a quip. She'd certainly bear closer inspection. And then another quip, Sir Godfrey, on a mission, I am expected to sacrifice myself. Talking about, flirting around with Stacey Sutton.
Yes.
So now we're at the dinner party. Bond is in a very classy white suit, which is the one that's on my Roger Moore James Bond t-shirt that I have to burn after today since we're done with Roger Moore movies.
He sees Mayday and
sees Mayday.
Zorin in a room together.
Yeah, so Bond, Mayday points Bond in the right direction.
He tries to go in the room.
Yeah, he's trying to check out a room. Oh, and this is where he's spying on Zorin and that Stacey Sutton, and we get a gadget here. We get the X-ray specs that he twists a little dial on them, and he's able to see through the darkened room to see inside. That's pretty cool.
Through the sort of one-way glass, the tinted glass. Yeah.
This is one of the few times where we get all these gadgets that Q didn't introduce at the beginning of the movie.
That is true. And he has the exact gadget he needs at the exact
course.
right time, of course.
Scarpine interrupts his spying. Bond is doing some more spying later while Zorin's mingling. He does see a check that was made out to S. Sutton for $5 million. Bond then meets the old Nazi, Dr. Karl Mortner. He meets a bunch of various Zorin henchmen, whatever you want to call him.
Yeah.
Mr. Conley, who sounds like some stereotypical American oil tycoon, but I think he's like a geologist that's helping Zorin with whatever this project is.
A geologist or a geologist?
Mortner is Zoran's breeding consultant, so he's the one that's working on the horses. And then
Do you
this
have a breeding consultant?
I don't know. Bond and Zoran meet. So I don't know if you noticed, but Bond had a ring on that was snapping photos.
I did see that. You
that was
could
pretty
see like a little flash out
Yeah.
of the ring. That was pretty good.
And I just realized where I think those photos show up later. I didn't make that connection. We'll talk about it when we get
Okay.
there.
All right.
Bond and Zoran meet. They have their back and forth. Bond makes a comment about fly fishing, and Zoran gets real stone faced and says he's got to leave.
If he had said butterfly fishing, like it would have worked even better.
Sure. Bond then gets a bottle of champagne that he brings to Stacy Sutton. While he's flirting with Stacy, Zoran instructs Mayday to get Sutton away from Bond. So now we have some spying at night. Tibbet's back in the stables. He might have been hiding inside of the horse's patoot. We'll never know. He was inside of a stable with a horse. So.
Right.
Tibbet still can't figure out how Pegasus disappeared, but Bond shows up, scares Tibbet, and then shows him that the stall that Pegasus was in is actually an elevator that drops down into a lab. Bond gets a little quip here where he says, "Quite a letdown."
Yeah.
They discover this huge underground lab, and we get a scene with the guy that's listening in on Bond's room. And it's a good thing they only had audio bugs in the room because they thought Bond was sleeping.
It really is.
Yeah.
I know, because he's got a tape of himself snoring, which is great.
Yeah, classic.
They could have had that on a Get Smart, right?
Right.
I mean, the snoring tape.
There's this like fridge or something that Bond's trying to get into, and he doesn't have any of his cool, lock picking, safe cracking devices or anything.
No.
He just uses a stethoscope.
He does
to
it
open
the
lock,
old-fashioned way, just a stethoscope that's sitting around.
Yeah. Turns out Pegasus has a microchip that releases natural horse steroids, so it's undetectable with drug testing.
Instantly effective.
Yes.
Natural horse,
which we'll
horse
see again
steroids.
later.
Yeah.
Two henchmen show up. Bond and Tibbet fight them and eventually dispatch with them on the assembly line. That was pretty lame.
It was so convenient that those henchmen were walking evenly spaced apart from each other, such that where Bond and Tibbet were hiding, they could both jump out at the same time and take on each one guy.
And they get thrown onto the assembly line and get like crates put
The
around
one guy
them
in
and
the
stuff.
crate,
Yeah.
right, and then the zip
Zip tie,
zip tie thing goes around it and traps him in there. Yeah, it was great.
Get a little
Great
quip from
stuff.
Bond. Don't worry, it's all wrapped up.
Yes.
We then cut to Zoran and Mayday fighting. Zoran showing he's all kinds of scumbag because he's clearly just trying to, assault Mayday there, and Mayday's trying to stop him. Very, very Goldfingery with Bond and Pussy Galore.
I think we're supposed to think that she likes this because when he finally pins her to the mat,
She looks frustrated after he leaves.
But she also like kind of growls at him, and I'm not sure. She also has no compunction about just undressing in front of him completely and putting a robe on.
That's true.
Because that's what I do after a good workout.
Yeah. I meant to say that assembly line, there was a bunch of microchips in all those crates. So they're like, why is there a bunch of microchips in these crates when there's already a surplus of microchips in the world?
Yes.
The henchmen are discovered boxed up on the assembly line, and Zoran has some more henchmen try to find Bond, but Bond and Tibbet try to get back to their rooms. Bond running faster than he has in years, does a jump onto a bridge or something that clearly was Roger Moore doing
Drawbridge,
that.
yeah. Which fortunately had a bar protruding from it exactly that a person could catch onto and then like flip themselves up onto the bridge.
Yeah, so Zoran and Mayday are walking around in the palace and trying to find Bond, and then Mayday goes back to her room to change so that they can, continue the investigation a little more, and Bond's in there naked in her bed. And Zoran just gives this look like, go for it.
He goes, okay. He just shrugs, like, yeah, go ahead.
So Mayday disrobes, and we get Slap and Tickle number 2 with Mayday, who is young enough to be his daughter. Barely. She's 20 years younger.
Yeah, well, that's young enough.
She's probably still less sweaty than Bond despite her workout because he did have to run 50 feet and then jump onto a closing gate.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
Zorn and Mortner go to the lab under the stable. They discover that somebody was in there because one of the vials that Bond was looking at, he put it back in the wrong spot.
Yeah.
It's very considerate, though, of Zorn to say, we'll meet with Bond in the morning and let him continue his evening activities with Mayday.
Exactly.
So next morning, we're in Zorn's study. Zorn asks, "You slept well?" And Bond says, quip, a little restless, but I got off eventually.
Now, let me ask you something here, Mike.
Yes.
If you had been in the restaurant in the Eiffel Tower and you had been tasked with killing someone with poison butterflies, and you were flying them around, and that person was having lunch with another human being, and then that other person chased you to try to kill you such that you had to run up the Eiffel Tower with them shooting at you, do you think you might recognize that person when they're naked in your bed?
Who knows?
Yet she just tells Zoran, he seems familiar. I know I've seen him somewhere.
Yeah.
But the whole time I'm thinking, I mean, he tried to kill her. She doesn't recognize this guy who tried to kill her, who was sitting at the table with the guy you murdered.
If we go back to Diamonds Are Forever, he's James Bond. I thought everybody knew him. He's the most famous person in the world.
Exactly. Although I do enjoy how Zoran finds out about him, which I believe we're going to next.
So Bond is sitting in Zoran's office or whatever, and Zoran has his own identigraph. It looked like his own kind of identigraph to discover that St. John Smythe is actually James Bond licensed to kill. So Zoran, Walken's facial expressions.
Which he laughs at. Oh my gosh, he's so good.
Those were great.
Yeah.
Zoran invites Bond on a horse ride. And Bond goes and talks to Tibbet and says that Tibbet needs to report in to MI6 to relay what's going on. Tibbet wants to know what kind of excuse he can have because Tibbet was just cleaning the car.
He was just cleaning
all nice
the car.
And done,
He just finished up. Yeah.
And, tell him you have to go get the car washed. And so Tibbet just dumps the
bucket of dirty water onto the car. And then he goes to the gate, and Grace Jones is just standing there menacingly.
Yeah. Won't let him out.
Saying nothing. Yeah.
So he gets out to try to open the gate, and then it opens, and then he goes back, and Mayday's gone. Where could she have possibly gone?
I don't know. Nothing bad's going to happen, right?
Bond gets to meet Inferno, who is Pegasus's brother, and gets taken for a ride. He prefers cross-country to equestrian, but they're going to be doing some equestrian.
To
steeplechase. Sorry, steeplechase. Yes.
Steeplechase.
Tibbet is being followed by Jenny Flex. I forgot the name of the car Jenny Flex is driving.
She is in a Renault Fuego.
There you go. This is why Charlie's here.
I wanted one of those cars back in the day. They had them in America. Wow, you could get a Renault Fuego. And my suspicion is they were very poorly made cars that I would have been extremely sorry that I owned. But I thought they were kind of cool at the time. And she's got a red one. It looks pretty cool.
Tibbet's getting his car washed. Mayday kills him from the back seat.
I was pretty sad. Tibbet's just a horse trainer.
Tibbet was a good sidekick.
Yeah, and he's just a horse trainer.
Yeah, but he signed up to be a spy here, so.
I know.
Once 1 year around Bond.
I know.
Zoran offers to give Ithacus. Ithacus is Pegasus's brother. Inferno is just another horse that they have that they're going to have Bond ride. So Ithacus, he offers to give Ithacus to Bond for free if he stays the course on the steeplechase. So once again,
Don't you think Bond would maybe go, I don't really need a horse?
Well, no.
I know, he's got to stay.
His dotty aunt left him.
I know, yeah. He's got to stay in character.
Once again, the villain is a cheater, of course. Bond gets assaulted by Zoran's exercise boys, and they're like raising the
steeplechase obstacles are terrific. You know, the water jump that moves back after Zoran goes over it, and the gate where one of the tubes goes up in the air to
Yeah.
like try to hit you in the face and all those things. It's really good that they have those people there hitting a button and all the steeplechase obstacles get harder.
So tell me if this is how you interpreted this. So Bond he escapes the course because it looks like there's going to be a final trap that he's not going to be able to get past. But Zoran pushes a button on his cane, and I was assuming that activated the steroid in
Bond's
Inferno,
horse.
so that he
went nuts.
yeah.
But why would he
So
go
you don't
nuts?
think Bond intentionally escaped? You think the horse did?
I
this?
thought the horse, well, because the horse goes crazy before it goes off course.
Okay.
So my assumption was he hits the button on the cane, something is ejected into Bond's horse, and Bond's horse goes crazy. But if they're using this for horse races, why would the horse go crazy? Although we saw the horse kind of go crazy at the end of the race when Grace
It's true.
Jones had to tame it. So maybe they put an extra large dose of
Yeah.
horse steroids in there or whatever. But yes,
Regardless.
either way, it's very fortunate that when his horse goes off course,
Of course.
wow. Is that off the cuff as well? All right, everyone go watch Mr. Ed. I did like that television show. Anyway, there are henchmen right there prepared to undo the rail
Yeah.
to let the rest
Let the
of
rest
the
of them-
chasing people go outside the track and chase after Bond.
Lots of conveniences in this movie.
There are lots of conveniences.
Bond's flying through the forest. He sees his car, so he gets up to the car and gets in, and it's Mayday driving, and Tibbet's dead in the back seat. Zorn shows up. They pull over the car, and Bond says killing Tibbet was a mistake. And Zorn says, I'm about to make the same mistake twice. So he's going to apparently kill Tibbet again.
Right, exactly.
I thought that line was a little
That
fumbled.
is pretty good.
Bond gets concussed for the 57th time. He
I know,
definitely
right?
has CTE.
Oh, yeah.
Mayday drives the car. They go to a lake. They push the car into the lake.
Because don't shoot Bond in the head
No.
or anything like that.
Just knock him out and then push him into the
knock
water.
him
so
out
he
and push him
drowns.
in the lake because the water won't wake him up or anything.
Yeah. This was not Cubby Broccoli's Rolls Royce. This was a shell of a Rolls Royce that they used for this part.
Yes, I would hope so.
Yeah.
They
And
don't have that kind of budget.
Yeah. Of course, the villains are going to assume Bond just dies by drowning. But Bond uses air from the tire to stay alive, which apparently you can do.
I really liked that. That was good. I figured you probably can. I'm not going to try it. It's probably
Yeah.
not as easy as he made it look, but that was a pretty good idea. I liked that.
I honestly wasn't sure that was Roger Moore. It just didn't look like him, but I guess it was just the water and stuff because it was him doing that part
Okay.
underwater.
I'm guessing he had like an actual air tube he could.
Yes, there
lean
was. It
over
was
and
just a
breathe
tube that
into.
was
Yeah.
oxygen pumping in.
Yeah.
Pure
But
oxygen.
still, I mean, that was pretty good, semi-believable trick.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that was good.
Okay, I need you to stop looking at the notes for a second because we
Okay.
got something coming up we're going to discuss, and I want to see it.
Let's see if I'll look at my notes.
Okay,
to see
so
if
we-
I have whatever it is.
We have Gogol, or I'm sorry, we're back at the race park, and this is where Gogol and Zorn meet. So Gogol is pissed that Zorn, quote unquote, killed 007.
Right.
Zorn is pissed that the British infiltrated the Siberian base where they found the microchip. So KGB trained Zorn, and
Right.
they say now he's not playing nice and attracting too much attention. They have a bit of a pissing contest where one of Gogol's men is given some grief, and eventually Mayday comes up and just hoists the guy up in the air and
Holds
it
him right over
Yeah,
her
it's
head.
getting really tense, and then she just throws the guy to the ground. Now, not the guy that got thrown, but Gogol's other guy. Did you know who that was?
No.
He was dating Grace Jones at the time. It's a guy by the name of Dolph Lundgren.
Oh, nice.
Dolph Lundgren, if you look when there's the scene where it's a straight shot on Gogol,
Yeah.
look to the left.
Okay.
He had dark hair. He wasn't blonde. He had dark hair. But that was Dolph Lundgren as one of the KGB agents.
I could see him dating because he's also very striking and
Yes.
large, right? So
Yeah.
I could see her thinking, because she's pretty big, right?
Yes.
She's not going to
Pretty
date like
tall.
me.
She
I don't know
might
how
now.
tall she is,
She
but
might now.
well, maybe she would. Yes, but
Grace
she
Jones,
also
if
looked.
you're listening.
She also looked stronger than I am,
Yes.
didn't she? I think she could beat both of us up at the same time.
So we are now on the Zoran blimp. And like I said, Charlie arrived in a blimp. Oh, I'm sorry. Charlie arrived in an Osato Industries blimp, which was really weird. I thought it was Zoran, but it was actually Osato.
Yes.
And Zoran reveals his plot, which is to destroy Silicon Valley so they have control of the microchip industry, called Project Mainstrike. Each of the rich industrialists that are sitting around the table, very uncomfortably, I might add, they're like sitting really low down and their knees are up. That just did not look comfortable at all.
No. And that's a pretty big conference room to have on a blimp,
Yes.
I thought.
Each of the industrialists would have to pay $100 million
Yes.
to be a part of Zoran's scheme. One of the men backs out and is escorted out of the meeting room and escorted out of the blimp down into the water. I didn't realize that that would kill you. Like, it seems like everybody that's falling into water dies.
Oh, no. I mean, people killed themselves by jumping off the Golden Gate Bridge.
Yeah.
And when you hit the water at that rate,
Yeah.
it might as well be concrete.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, you don't. I mean, I think some people live, right? It's not exactly like concrete, but when you fall far enough, fast enough, I believe water can be just as deadly as solid ground.
Interesting. We get a good Zoran quip here, though, and he then says, "So, does anyone else want to drop out?"
Yeah, that was good. I liked that one.
And here we get...
And I really liked, like, he had the forethought to install, like, a collapsing staircase in that thing with a hatch underneath the staircase because he knew he might have to drop someone out of the blimp someday.
We see that the blimp is around San Francisco, and we get the worst possible way to integrate the title of a movie into the movie, where Mayday says, "Wow, what a view," and Zoran instantly says, "To a kill."
To a kill.
What does that even mean?
I don't know. And also, I'm like, do you think the pilot and co-pilot like kind of looked at each other like, what the hell is he talking about? Like, with that, are we sure? I mean, we're just blimp pilots. What is this guy up to?
Just wait till you hear how they place Quantum of Solace. And
Right. What a quantum of solace.
right. We are now in San Francisco. Bond is also in San Francisco. They were able to get a lot of permits to shoot around San Francisco because the mayor, Dianne Feinstein,
Oh, really?
yes, the longtime senator who passed away, I think, a year or two ago, Dianne Feinstein, per Roger Moore, preferred him to Sean Connery as James Bond.
Oh, fascinating.
Yeah, that's pretty funny.
But they did definitely do a lot of actual on-scene San Francisco shots, which were pretty good.
Bond arrives in San Francisco riding on a cable car, of course. And with that, we are going to pause for our second drink, the cable car.
All right.
The magic of podcast editing, this will be like 5 seconds, but this, if my wife's not home, is probably going to take
like
20
20
minutes.
minutes, exactly.
And we are back.
4 hours later.
Yeah, 4 hours later. We have the cable car cocktail. Has a spiced rum in it, some Cointreau, has some lemon juice, cane syrup, and fee foam cocktail foamer. Definitely our fanciest drink so far.
And it's got some cinnamon sugar around the rim of the glass.
That's right.
And an orange zest prepared by Tracy.
Yeah. Thank you to Countess Tracy. Cheers.
Cheers.
It's pretty good.
It's got a lot going on. Yeah, it is tasty.
I like the...
And the cinnamon definitely adds to it because you get that taste right away, and then you get the fruity taste coming in. It's pretty good.
The lemon juice is really not overpowering, but
It's noticeable.
It really
puckers
comes
up
out.
a little bit. Yeah, you can tell it's in there.
Yeah. Good stuff. Bond goes to the Fisherman's Wharf, which I've actually been there. I have walked around.
So that was the
area.
real Fisherman's
Yeah,
Wharf?
I've walked around there. It's pretty cool.
I really want to go to San Francisco someday.
He asks a random guy behind the stall for some soft shell crab. What if somebody else had come along and asked? Would that guy have just...
I do not know.
But this is Chuck Lee from the CIA.
Maybe you can't really get soft shell crab there, so maybe it's something nobody would say. I don't know.
For all of our seafood experts, please let us know.
Yeah, get our fact checker to look into that, Mike.
I wonder how long he was there, though. How long Chuck Lee was standing around there waiting for Bond to show
I know,
up.
right? Well, at least he wasn't required to like play a recorder and charm a snake.
With the James Bond theme song.
Right.
Chuck Lee gives Bond the scuttlebutt on the villains. This is where I think that those pictures he was taking with his ring came from.
Oh.
Did you see how they looked? Because they had kind of a
yes.
weird look to them.
Yes. Okay, that makes sense.
Honestly, didn't
yeah,
make that connection
where he
until
has-
us talking today.
Yes, that's right. That makes sense.
Learn about Conley, the geologist. There's no info on Sutton yet, because he said there's a bunch of Suttons in America. It's kind of hard to narrow it down.
Right.
Mortner is actually a guy by the name of Hans Glaub, a pioneer in the development of steroids. He used steroids on pregnant women in concentration camps. Most of the pregnancies were aborted, but those that were born were psychotic.
Yeah, that kind of explains things, doesn't it?
Bond and Lee go to the docks where they meet Kurt Vonnegut. Oh, wait, no, this guy's named O'Rourke. He is a crabber who gives them more details about Zorn's facility. Guy looked a lot like Kurt Vonnegut.
Yeah.
I think we should do a season of just Kurt Vonnegut stuff. Do the movies based on his books, and then the one movie that he's in. Because you want me to watch that again anyway. Back to School.
Yes, I do want you to watch that again.
Whoever wrote this knows nothing about Kurt Vonnegut.
Yes. Classic.
Now it's nighttime at the pumping station. That's not a euphemism. It literally is nighttime, and we are literally at a pumping station.
Bond's in scuba gear again, once again.
Forgot his crocodile this time.
Yeah, he did.
Zorn's in there talking with
Wouldn't that have been great? Like he's in the ocean, right? And
the
he's using
crocodile?
the crocodile, and they're like, what?
Zorn's in the facility where he's demanding more cowbell. I had to do it once in the episode.
Yes.
Oh, sorry. No, he just wanted more power from the pumps. Bond takes his oxygen tank and jams one of the propellers with his tank to escape the pipe.
Well, because Bond's about to get killed with the pipe sucking the seawater in, and he happens to be in the pipe doing something.
Yes.
Yeah.
Bond isn't the only one that's actually spying. There's also probably, I mean, we know it is, but, you know, KGB is scoping the place out and is planting bombs.
And they have Walkman 2s on.
Wow. That's a detail I never would have noticed.
Those yellow tape recorders they had strapped to their belt looked exactly like a Walkman 2.
Okay.
I had a Walkman 1, which was 1.5 times bigger than the Walkman 2. So it was almost like having a portable tape recorder, you know, what those used to look like with the big buttons and stuff strapped to your belt. But the Walkman 2 is when it actually became where it was barely bigger than the cassette tape. So I immediately saw those and thought of... The Walkman 2 also had some little bit of like rubber gaskets to keep... you know, water out, so it actually would make a little more sense that they had Walkman 2s.
This has been, we haven't had an episode in a while. This has been an episode of Charlie is older than Mike.
Yes.
I had a Discman, not a Walkman. Discman, worst thing to put in your car ever because it skipped constantly.
They skip. Sitting on a stationary desk, those things would skip. Like, they were terrible.
Mayday finds the Russian snooping around. Zorn makes him defuse the bomb and then sends him down the chute and into the choppy waters.
Oh my gosh. That's great.
There's another Russian there. That one makes it to shore and is confronted by Bond. And this is Paula Ivanova. This was a British actress. I think I mentioned her name.
She's not Russian?
She's not Russian, shockingly. Bond and Ivanova drive away and are pursued by another car.
They drive away in what?
A Corvette C4.
Yes, very nice.
I do my research. We have hot tub time now. This scene clearly was the inspiration for the Austin Powers scene with a lot of vagina.
Yes.
And Bond makes a little quip, would you like it harder? And then we get slap and tickle number 3 with Paula Ivanova, who's young enough to be his daughter.
You know what I noticed about her? When they were in some kind of scuffle, it was convenient that she had a 2-piece wetsuit on and that the shirt part came off so that you could tell that she was a woman.
Nice.
A lot of 2-piece wetsuits out there, right? It's great for keeping the water out. Anyway, do you notice where they go for this hot tub scene? They're at the Nippon Relaxation Spa.
Oh, okay.
So several things. First of all, Nippon, obviously not much in use, although basically
Japan.
like Japan,
Yeah.
right? So not really offensive or anything, but not common
Yeah.
anymore. But things made in Japan used to say Nippon on them.
Okay.
Here's another episode of Charlie's Order. We have some dishes that actually say Nippon on the back of them. But also, ew, how many people do you think go into that hot tub spa like couples, right? It's one of those like those couples fantasy retreat things, and you're like, ew.
It's like, what is that, Sybaris?
Yes.
Like, you don't want to put a black light in those places.
No.
It just makes me think of a line from Back to the Future where Doc is like, oh, no wonder this thing doesn't work. It says made in Japan. And Marty's like, all the good stuff's made in Japan.
Exactly. I know, right?
They have their banter. They have their slap and tickle. Ivanova steals the tape and escapes with Gogol. How do you like Gogol, just KGB agent, just roaming around San Francisco?
I mean, well, back then it was, I mean, that might have happened back then, right? It was easy. You could buy a plane ticket with cash probably and have a fake passport, and they didn't have computers to check you out probably, right? You just walk in.
So they're listening to the tape and they discover that it's not Zoran's conversation about Main Strike, but it's about, it's just music.
It's just the Japanese music.
Bond switched it out, of course.
Yeah, you could tell he was doing something when he put the music in, right? That he was kind of fiddling around with the tapes or something. So that was good. I kind of expected it, but that was good.
Next day, we're at City Hall with a guy by the name of Mr. Howe. He's the head of divisions of oil and mines. California.
We need to look up whether there really is such a thing, right?
California does love welcoming psychotic technocrats to their state.
They do. I mean, that's basically what they have, right?
Bond is undercover as a reporter for the London Times. Now, I said to you there were two things in this movie that made it that were like the slide whistle. This was the other one. His name as the undercover reporter is Stock, James Stock. Later on, maybe we'll get Mutual Fund, James Mutual Fund.
Nice.
Because he's Bond.
The Financial Times. Very nice. I didn't even notice that.
Stocks and bonds.
Nice.
Bond gets some info about why they love Zoran. He's very excited to have him there. And he spots Sutton meeting with Howe and then follows her in her car. So we're following Stacey Sutton. And
he's in a nice Ford.
Okay.
Bond is in a nice Ford, yeah. I think it was a Futura.
Okay.
I should have looked that up. I didn't do my research, Mike, but it looked like a Ford Futura.
If it wasn't in the book that I read, then I didn't deem it relevant enough. Sutton arrives at, it's quite possibly the largest chunk of undeveloped land anywhere in that area. And that's probably worth alone, that's worth $20 million. Exactly. So what's she worrying about?
I know, right?
At this point, we see James Stock using his Sharper Image credit card to break into her house.
Oh boy, that was classic, wasn't it?
Really
that
cool.
Sharper Image credit card.
We get a cat that's not Mr.
I assume the Sharper Image doesn't exist anymore, right?
I think they finally went under. They might have an online presence.
Okay.
And if Sharper
but probably
Image,
someone bought the name or something like
if Sharper
that.
Image would
they used to have physical stores.
Oh, I know.
That you would go into.
Them and Brookstone, my favorite places.
Yes. They had all kinds of goofy stuff that you could get.
We are more than welcome to accept sponsorships from either Sharper Image
or
Brookstone.
That's right. We'll take
we see a cat. It's not Mr. Bigglesworth. It's just a Siamese cat.
It is.
Pervert James.
Oh, that's a Siamese cat? I didn't know what kind of cat.
Yeah, I think it was a Siamese cat.
Oh, it could be.
I used to have one.
Oh, okay.
So
all our cat lovers tell us if we're right.
The pervert James Stock thinks he's spying on Sutton showering. So he goes into the bathroom and is going to try to surprise her or whatever. Sutton emerges from the closet with a rifle loaded with rock salt.
But he doesn't know it's rock salt.
He does not know it's rock salt. Sutton does get some additional unwelcome guests. There's a guy that clearly looks like Harpo Marx.
Yes.
Sutton takes one of those guys out. They start tussling with Bond and everything. They're all fighting. Very good stunt work by Bond's stunt double in this scene for some of the punches and fights and stuff.
Yep.
Sutton takes out one of the guys with her grandfather's urn that Bond tried so hard to not destroy. The henchmen eventually drive away. Then James Stock introduces himself, and he makes a quiche for Stacey Sutton.
He does. Is this the first time we've seen Bond cook something?
I think so.
He really whipped something up there, right? I mean, that was something.
So basically, we learn that Sutton her dad owned a company he owned a company that did like geological stuff whatever. Just some, boilerplate kind of thing that we just need to move the plot forward. James Stock tells her about the $5 million check, and she says that was a payoff for her to get rid of the rest of her shares of Sutton.
Don't you think being the state geologist and owning this big oil company that she apparently owned might be a bit of a conflict of interest?
Who knows?
Come
There's
on.
a lot of that doesn't exist. There's no such thing as a conflict of interest
I know,
anymore.
right? Not in California. They love industrialists.
Sutton eventually decides she tears up the check and is not going to take the money from Zoran. We think we're going to get some slap and tickle, but Sutton falls asleep. James Stock is classy enough to not take advantage of Sutton and tucks her in. We see an earthquake happen, and its pinpoint is near Zoran's station. So now we're back at City Hall, briefly, where Sutton gets fired. And then we go back to Sutton's house. So we have James Stock, Chuckley, and Sutton deciding to investigate how many of these wells around... I wish I could explain the plot better and the scheme of Main Strike. I can't understand. There's like wells all around, and they're going to flood them. They're going to flood things and blow it up and cause... two plates to shift.
They're going to cause two faults to go at the same time because he owns enough mines. And they're pumping the seawater in, and then he's going to drain the lake. It's really annoyingly complicated.
It really is.
Hard to understand.
And honestly, every time they were talking about it, my eyes kind of glazed over.
Yeah, but there were a couple things at her house, though. Did you notice she knew all about this, and they had that tremor while they were there? And did you notice she went over to her Apple IIc?
My wife pointed that out, actually.
Yes.
She said, hey, that's an Apple.
It was an Apple IIc,
Apple IIc,
my friend.
yeah.
C for compact, I believe. Yes. That was classic, and she had the little graphs on there that told her all about it.
What happened to technocrats you could like Steve Jobs?
I know, right? Exactly, because he was such a nice guy.
Right. Chuckley eventually leaves, is immediately murdered by Mayday, who then drives away in his Ford Bronco.
Ford Bronco.
Ongoing conversations I have with Charlie. I want a Ford Bronco really badly, and I'm going to get
Do you want one of that vintage, or do you want the new one?
I want the new one, but...
I kind of like the one of that
those are really cool looking.
Did you notice during the fight when, in the house, when Bond punches that guy and the railing breaks off of the upper floor exactly perfectly for that guy to fall to the ground? It does. Becky and I tried to reenact that with our railing several times, and it just never broke that way perfectly like that for us to fall down.
Speaking of the Ford Bronco, that's a great car if you murder your ex-wife and then want to get away in a slow speed chase.
It really is. You got to have a white one, though.
You got to have a white one.
White one, so it's as visible as possible.
We are once again back at City Hall at night.
Because she still has her badge. Like in those days,
it's nice that security wasn't made aware.
They're not very good at revoking your badge because your badge is probably not even electronic, right?
Yeah.
It's just something in your wallet.
Oh, by all means, Miss Sutton, walk on in.
That's right. You just show he hadn't gotten the word. There's no computer to turn her access off.
Scarpine shows up. We don't see the other people that show up, but we see Scarpine get out of the car. Stock and Sutton sneak around looking for the files on the wells. They discover that Main Strike is at an abandoned silver mine on the San Andreas Fault. We then have Zoran and Mayday show up to capture Stock and Sutton, and they escort them to see Howe, who loves Zoran. So, of course, since he loves Zoran, Zoran kills Howe because he's going to frame James Stock and Stacy Sutton for killing Howe as she was a disgruntled ex-employee. She killed Howe, set fire to the building. And then they died in the elevator. That's the plan.
It was funny how he explains the whole plan to a guy he's about to shoot.
Yeah, because then the guy's like, but that would mean...
I have to be
And then he gets
dead.
shot. Stock and Sutton are trapped in the elevator while gas is poured all over City Hall. I would say that Zoran's Molotov cocktail was a waste of Bacardi, but it's just Bacardi, so it's fine.
Well, it had to be Bacardi 151 because Bacardi 151...
That's the proof, right?
Yes.
Well, of course.
Bacardi 151 has a warning on the label about its flammability.
Nice.
which when you're in college, just so you know, makes it more desirable to you how dangerous it is, and that you can light it on fire when it's in a glass. And just some advice for those of you turning 21. When your friend buys you a shot that has Bacardi 151 in it and they light it on fire and you blow that out, the glass is going to be very hot and you do not want to touch it to your lips.
Did you do that or did somebody else?
Oh, this is just theoretical advice,
okay.
Mike. No, and I have no experience with
I always
this
wondered what was
whatsoever.
wrong with your lips.
Yes. Don't do it, kids.
James Stock is trying to escape, and this is where we get Tanya Roberts' worst acting of the film, which is saying something. She
I was going to say,
just
how can you
her screaming.
identify
She's
that?
convinced that James Stock is leaving her.
Yeah.
And it's just ridiculous. 007 pulls out the long hose and dangles it down to Stacy.
Nice. There are several things about this elevator scene. So, he throws that Molotov cocktail down on top of the elevator. Did you notice that the steel cables light on fire? Now, Mike, I ask you, do you think steel burns very easily if you just put some gasoline on it? Don't you think the gasoline just burns out?
I don't know. I mean, your lips burned pretty easily on that, didn't they?
They did, but they're not made of steel cables. And so the steel cables are on fire. Like, you watch the scene, and the cables are burning. And then they start to break, these steel cables.
Okay.
And then Bond and Tanya Roberts get out and stand on top of this elevator and touch things that are with flame right there that is basically melting metal.
This has been another episode of Charlie Ruins the Movie.
I found that distracting to watch the metal burning.
I get it. Eventually, James Stock and Sutton escape. Sutton is carried down the ladder, and that was definitely Roger Moore climbing down a ladder with a woman on his shoulder.
I liked how the firemen made no effort to climb up that ladder and help them. Right?
Yeah.
They're climbing down there and he's losing his step is slipping because he's carrying this woman down the ladder, and they make no effort to climb up the ladder and like clip him onto the side of the thing or any of the things you would probably do if you were climbing that ladder.
So they're down there talking with or over by the fire truck, and then a cop comes up, and we get our stereotypical doofus cop. This time we get our San Francisco J.W. Pepper.
Yes.
It is very convenient because James Stock asks about Chuck Lee, and he says, "Oh, Chuck Lee will vouch for me." Very convenient that this cop already knows that Chuck Lee is dead and he was found in Chinatown. I mean,
he knows who Chuck Lee is.
This was like 3 or 4 hours later. Yeah. I mean, I guess he was a CIA agent, so maybe. Who knows?
But you don't know who
just
CIA
gotta suspend
agents are.
Yeah, you just got to suspend disbelief.
The government disavows them when they die, so you wouldn't know.
We do get James Stock revealing that he's actually James Bond, much to Stacy's surprise. Dick Tracy does try to arrest Bond, but gets hosed down. You don't often see the cop getting hosed. My, how the turns have tabled.
That is a pretty good scene where he sprays him, and my wife kind of groaned, but I'm like, the world's about to end. He has to escape right now, because she's like, he could take 5 minutes and they'd figure out he's really a secret agent, but they've got to get there now. Plus, the stealing a fire truck scene to get away is pretty awesome.
I mean, let's just say Bond is really using his hose a lot in this movie, so why not one more time? We get our chase through San Francisco. Bond and Sutton escape via the fire truck, which is a 1964 American LaFrance 900.
Interesting.
Bond is driving, and he says, "Here, put your hand on this." And
I know, right?
And he says, the wheel.
Yeah.
Now we get our Keystone Cops for this movie. You gotta love the return of those, just bumbling idiots that drive into each other and everything.
For some reason, Bond decides he's going to climb out on the fire truck and go to the back, which is an integral part of what he has to do to escape in this fire truck.
Yes.
But it makes for
they say because
scene.
the latch is loose, right? Isn't that the
Yeah,
justification?
but he doesn't know why he doesn't know the latch is loose. And if he did, he wouldn't go out there. So Yeah, it was goofy. I guess he thinks he's going to get to the back and drive the back of the truck
Yeah.
like Kramer.
Okay.
But yes, it still, it's a great sequence of a car chase with a fire truck, right? I mean, how often do you see that? It was
Yeah.
outstanding.
Bond is swinging around, but at least we don't have that stupid Tarzan effect while he's doing it this time.
No, we do not. And the ladder gets to destroy a few things.
Bond interrupts someone else's slap and tickle by knocking the camper shell off the top of the back of their
I
truck.
I like when he knocks the two cowboy hats off the guys in the convertible.
It looked very real.
Oh yeah.
Sutton pretty impressively drives between some trolley cars, and we get a quip where Bond says that should keep him on the wrong track.
Yes. And I mean, they must have had to do a lot of choreography of cars and cable cars and things in that scene. I mean, it must have been very, very complicated to film that. And the funny thing is, though, she's able to drive that fire truck at, high speeds, and yet she looks terrified all the time and is taking her hands off that steering wheel constantly and screaming.
Now, of course, it seems like, any movie where you're in San Francisco, you have to have a bridge jump. So we have this cantilevered bridge, pretty famous bridge. You probably have seen it in other movies. I imagine it was in Dirty Harry or something too. The fire truck makes it over it. The cops do not. And we get our second holy shit of the franchise, which was nice. But the scene where he's telling the guy...
He's mad at the guys.
For getting his car destroyed, and then his car gets destroyed
by the counterweight,
and he makes the stupidest geez face. It's just absurd.
It is.
We're gonna move on now to the abandoned mine. This is where main strike's gonna occur. Bond takes out the driver very realistically. There wasn't any weird editing of that at all when he punches out the driver. I did like Roger Moore doing his American accent when they asked about where the fire was.
Yes, exactly. And by the way, this is what I noted. If I'm driving a truck full of explosives and I say, "Where's the fire?" and someone says, "At the back of the truck," I'm going to run as far away from that truck as humanly possible. No. I am not going
you're going to walk around back and check
the back
it out.
of the truck to see where the fire is that's about to explode.
They go through some levels of security. Bond gets a hard hat because he didn't have one. They eventually get to the main site.
There wasn't much security back then, was there? They just look at him. He's driving a truck of explosives. Come on in.
They do make sure he has a hard hat.
They do.
They get to the foreman and he sees that Sutton is a woman, and we get a Bond quip. It's women's lib. They're taking over the Teamsters.
I'm going to tell you right now, my wife did not find that humorous at all.
Eventually, Bond and Stacy hide in a minecart filled with explosives.
Now, before they get to the minecart, what do? They end up in the office, right? And they find some Zoran Industry coveralls.
You getting some?
And when they walk out, actually, that's a good idea. When they walk out, he says to her, "Oh, it's too bad you couldn't find one that fits." Now, she's in a super tight-fitting outfit. Do you have something about this?
No, go ahead.
So my wife says, "Oh, of course they dress the woman in this tight-fitting. Well, it's not going to be baggy." What I read about it was Tanya Roberts made them redo those coveralls multiple times so that it would be flattering to her figure.
Okay.
And when he made that quip, that was not in the script. He was saying that as a joke because she had redone the outfit so many times. And if you watch, she gives him a look, which is not very nice.
I will have to look at that.
Yes.
That's not the first time
and
Roger Moore's done that.
Yeah. And apparently she was very difficult to work with. So they decided to leave the quip in the movie.
That's funny.
Yes.
We see a bomb getting armed. Bond and Stacy are in this room that they see this map, and they reveal that the ultimate plan is to flood Silicon Valley by blowing up the lock that keeps the two faults from moving. So it creates a double earthquake, which is the opposite of a double rainbow. It's not happy and joyous.
Exactly.
Mayday and Zoran get there. Bond and Stacy escape out a window. Bond throws a stool, honestly. So he throws a stool at the door so Zoran can't get in or something.
Okay, can we talk about this mine office for a minute, though.
Yes.
So they go in there, and she uncovers a table, an extremely fancy map table that she knows how to work, that shows, like, it lights up and shows all the stuff. Now, this map table is about to be destroyed, right? As Zoran knows. So he's built this with his map table in there. And when she's standing at the map table, there are racks and racks of, like, mainframe computer tapes behind her head. And all this, as Zoran well knows, is about to be destroyed in a huge explosion.
Yes, but bear in mind, he's getting $100 million from like 18 guys. So
he can build another fancy map if he wants to, I guess. But watch for those computer tapes, old people.
Yeah, so Bond and Stacy escape. There's henchwomen in pursuit. We get Jenny Flex, Mayday, and I didn't get the third one's name.
No, the Asian lady?
Yeah.
I really didn't. Where did she come into play?
Well,
I guess she was the one in the blimp who let the guy out.
Yes, but she was also earlier in France. She was the one that, when Bond pulls up, she was the first person they meet.
Okay.
Sutton almost falls into a pit straight from the Goonies. That was pretty cool.
Yes.
Zoran, then at this point, we get the full psychopath Zoran, where he decides that he's just going to kill all these henchmen that are, helping him to build this bomb. Yeah, the guy's like,
these people are loyal to you.
Yeah. I don't care. I just want more cowbell.
Exactly.
That was a terrible Christopher Walken, but
it was.
Who cares? Nobody listens to this.
But he's shooting people who are going to die anyway. Yeah. Like, that's how crazy
he's making sure they don't get out.
I guess. And he's laughing, and
Scarpine's helping him.
Scarpine is helping him, right? He's like, give me some of those unused clips. And they're just, like, shooting people indiscriminately. Yeah. And the one guy is trying to climb up, and he kicks him in the face and knocks him back in. It's pretty hardcore.
Absolutely insane.
But the other thing I felt about it is, usually the bad guy gets as far away from this as possible. He's in a mine that is being flooded.
Yes.
Like, he's got to be pretty sure that mine's not going to collapse, which I feel like maybe it would.
Yeah.
He does have a good getaway plan, though. I like his getaway plan.
With the flooding of the mine, Mayday catches up to Bond, but they fall into the rushing water. Zoran's continuing to obliterate every henchman and worker. And then,
didn't you wonder to yourself how they actually did these scenes with that much rushing water?
I don't know.
I would really like to see how special effects wise you do that.
Yeah, I didn't hear anything about that on the commentaries or anything. So Zoran and Scarpine escape from the mine, and this is where Mayday switches sides because she realizes that Zoran doesn't love her. Oh, imagine that. I don't really have
modern day Jaws.
Yeah, I don't have much sympathy for Mayday, to be honest.
I know.
The villains escape on the blimp. Is this what you were talking about? How
I love it. They go into that little building and suddenly the blimp like inflates and pushes the walls and ceiling of the building away, and it just blows up right there.
Yeah. Bond and Mayday decide to work together to make sure the lock doesn't blow up. So for once, you actually have a giant claw machine that works. It's able to get down in there and grab onto the bomb and pull it up. And Bond's like, take the bomb away. And Mayday's like, get on.
They make a lot of her turning that crank to put it down there, though. She does. I mean, her arms, she's pretty cut.
Yeah.
I mean, she looks very strong.
They load the bomb onto a mine cart that, of course, the brake is malfunctioning. So it's not. They're not going to be able to push it out. Yeah. So Mayday sacrifices herself, and like I said, I still great. She didn't ultimately save the world or whatever, save Silicon Valley, but she still was with him up until then. If she hadn't been betrayed, she would be killing people right alongside him, probably.
I know. She also, like, just so you know, I would have jumped off the cart right when it got outside and run as far away from it as possible.
But she blows up.
Yeah, so she blows up.
Stacy gets abducted. And Bond catches up to the blimp before it gets away.
The slowest abduction of all time by blimp.
Yeah. So now we're over San Francisco. Bond's just hanging around up there off the blimp.
Nice.
We get one more shot of the doofus cop. He gets rear-ended as they're all looking up at the blimp that's flying over.
So one thing about this blimp. So did you notice before Grace Jones comes out with the bomb, they're viewing Silicon Valley, and the the crazy horse poisoner guy.
Yes.
They're talking about how let's go watch the earthquake. And he says, which everyone will think happened by natural causes. Now, Mike, if you're going to be the author of a double earthquake using abandoned mines that you clearly own with lots of high explosives in them, do you think the best way to make that look natural is to take your blimp up in the air with your company name on the side and watch the earthquake happen? That's so inconspicuous that no one will ever suspect us. It's totally natural causes. We just happen to be up in our blimp when watching Silicon Valley when the earthquake happened. This plan is perfect.
I just want to point out something about Silicon Valley. They act like Silicon Valley and San Francisco are right next to each other. I've actually been to Silicon Valley too,
Yeah.
because it's like down farther south. It's like a good 30 miles away from like the Golden Gate Bridge.
Yeah. The other thing we forgot to talk about, Mike, is the guy in the fishing boat in the lake when the lake is draining.
Yes.
And then he ends up in the dry lake.
Yes.
After the lake is drained. It's pretty funny, but it did make me think, how did they do this? They clearly didn't actually drain a lake.
I can tell you how they did this.
Oh, I want to know.
So that was filmed in Western England.
Okay.
There's an estuary that part of the day it had water filled in it, and then another part of the day it was dry. And that's how they filmed it.
That's outstanding.
Yeah.
That's great.
So there you go.
Well, they did something, obviously, to make the big water spout when the bomb was supposed to go off. But that's great because, yes, it drains. And he looks around and he's like, what happened? And he just walks out of the boat.
Zoran tries to kill Bond. We're at the Golden Gate Bridge. So he's trying to wrap him around the bridge and kill him, whatever. Once again, Zoran asks for more cowbell. Oh, wait, no, he asks for more power because the blimp is now attached to the bridge.
Right, because Bond wraps it
Yes.
around. But, by the way, that is, when you watch him say more power, it's so Christopher Walken.
Yes.
It's so good when he tells more power.
Yeah. Perfect Christopher Walken.
I know, neither of us can do it.
Yeah.
But it is, watch the movie. It's great.
Sutton's on the blimp, so she tries to stop Zoran. The stupid Nazi doctor had his seatbelt on, so he couldn't get to her before she got to Zoran. But for the second straight movie, a henchman is told to go confront Bond outside of an aircraft.
I know, he says, go out there. And the guy Scarpine looks at him like he's nuts. Because, of course.
And then he does it.
I know,
but he
right?
tries to do it, and then
Yes,
Sutton
he
hits him
tries.
with a fire extinguisher.
Yes.
Eventually, Zoran goes out, takes matters into his own hands with an axe, gets into it's a decent fight between them. And
So Becky said, at first I thought that was a plunger. And I said, oh my gosh, the third Austin Powers movie that we're going to make will be perfect when he can't find anything and he gets a plunger and takes it out onto the Golden Gate Bridge to fight him with instead of an axe.
this is going to be an episode of errors and omissions. It would be the fourth Austin Powers movie.
Okay.
Because you
Sorry.
forget about the dud that was Goldmember.
Oh, yes, I do forget about that.
Bond gets the better of Zoran eventually, who falls into the water. And like I asked earlier, does this really kill you? I guess it would. I guess
does
it's high
kill
enough
you.
that it does. So.
Even from the deck of the Golden Gate Bridge,
Yeah.
I believe it kills you.
Okay.
Yes.
Mortner sees this, and it's like his son died, so he is going to try to blow up Bond with some dynamite on the Golden Gate Bridge. It's a smart plan.
How could this go wrong?
Yeah.
And it's definitely good to light the dynamite while you're standing inside the cabin before you're ready to throw it.
Clearly, the Nazis are the master race. This kind of stuff
Right.
proves that point.
Exactly.
So yeah, he drops it, and then they're just trying to, they're stupid like comedy bit where they're bouncing it around trying to get it
Yes.
out, and then the blimp just blows up.
Now, Mike, I read a very interesting thing because I was wondering how they did this Golden Gate Bridge scenes and everything.
Yes.
Like some parts, clearly, they're not on the
Some
bridge.
parts were
When
at
you
Pinewood,
watch it,
yes.
it's a close up.
They rebuilt that part
Yeah.
at Pinewood Studios
Yeah,
for that.
yeah.
Yes, but go ahead.
But they actually did have people who went up on the bridge, and they had some
Yes.
cameramen and other people. Did you hear how they had to get up to that part of the bridge?
I
Because
did
they
not.
actually there is an elevator
Okay.
And that elevator takes many minutes to get up there. And in that elevator, it's very small. And they
Yeah.
had 3 men at a time go in. And those 3 men were so packed in that they could barely hold the camera equipment and other things they needed to go up there. And the guy they interviewed said he was thinking about what would happen if the power went out and we're stuck in this thing. When they got to the top,
Mm-hmm.
nobody could reach the door handle to open the door because they were so packed in, and it took them several minutes to maneuver around
Wow.
so that somebody could get to the door handle and let themselves out. I can't even imagine. That would be terrifying. And then, of course, when you get out, you're at the top of the Golden Gate Bridge.
Yes.
And they said it was terrifying up there.
I imagine it would be. Bond saves the day. All the bad guys are dead. We now have a scene at MI6 where Gogol's there at MI6 with the defense minister, and with him, Bond gets awarded the Order of Lenin. I'd have preferred the Order of McCartney, but who cares? Gogol
No,
jokes.
I'd go for Lennon.
Okay. Gogol jokes about stealing secrets from Silicon Valley, so they're glad that it didn't get flooded.
Okay, was Gogol just hanging around London?
I guess him and the defense minister.
I mean, he had
clearly
been in
good
San
friends.
Francisco.
Yeah.
He's in London. He just happens to have that medal with him at all times, just in case he needs it, because this has just happened.
I guess. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you, Charlie.
I have serious issues.
If only it were not a real thing, and if only it were just a movie instead.
I know, but this is what occurs to me as I'm watching. I have serious problems.
We're told that Bond is missing, which is kind of weird. Why would he be missing? But whatever.
I don't know.
We go to Sutton's house, so somehow Q gets his, pervy little spy device all the way to that house.
His little robot dog.
And he's going through and looking in the shower, and we see that Bond and Stacy are in the shower together, and we get Slap and Tickle number 4 with Stacy, who is also young enough to be Bond's daughter.
Did you notice that Q is in a Winnebago?
I did.
He's in a Winnebago. And instead of something like, I don't know, knocking on the door and asking if anyone is there, he sends in the spy dog through the dog door.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, they also don't show how the spy dog makes it all the way up the stairs, do they? But, you could, they could call her house. I mean, I don't know.
Continuing to ruin this movie.
Sorry.
The Winnebago, that looks just like the Winnebago from Lost in America.
It does.
Which is one of the funniest movies. One of Albert Brooks' best movies.
Very good movie.
And that's it. That's the end of A View to a Kill. Bond's not on a boat. Good for Roger
No, he is
Moore.
not. There's still water involved.
Yes.
But not on a boat.
One triviality. So the 007 stage burned to the ground as they were starting to produce this movie. It was during the filming of a movie called Legend by Ridley Scott, which starred Tom Cruise and Tim Curry. So there was a mad dash to repair that and find other alternative options for the set pieces, like the mine area.
Yeah. Oh, the mine wasn't in that studio? I really wondered where the mine was. It was in
Pinewood, but it wasn't on the 007 stage because it burned around. Book comparisons. The title comes from a short story from A View to a Kill, and that's it. That's the only comparison. There's no plot similarities between these two things.
Wow.
So let's go to final thoughts. Things I liked. I mean, it's a good Bond movie. It's a great villain. Walken's awesome. Grace Jones is a great henchwoman. And it's fun.
Yeah.
What I didn't like, Tanya Roberts is terrible. Her acting is on the same level as Lana Wood from Diamonds Are Forever, in my opinion. Yeah. I think she's awful. I think they should have cast somebody better. Good thing we'll never have another Bond movie where there's a actor that's cast as a scientist that should not have been cast as a scientist, Denise Richards. So I like this movie a lot, actually. The song, we'll get to the song when we do our rankings. The song's great. The cast is great. I'm going to do 4 stars for this one.
Oh, wow.
I am. What is your rating?
So, well, the things I liked. I mean, it's got a lot of great Bond elements. I mean, as goofy as, blowing things up and all of the things that go into... I mean, how many blimps this guy has? Mm-hmm. He's got a lot of blimps. And because he's got one that's big enough to have a whole big conference table in it and everything. I mean, that stuff is all classic Bond, right? It's good. Yes, Tanya Roberts is not. She cannot deliver a line at all.
Yeah.
She is not good. So yeah, I'm not too keen on that. I think I'm going to give it 3.5.
Okay.
Now that we're allowed to do halves.
We never weren't.
Okay. I thought it was good.
Yeah.
It wasn't my favorite, right? But Christopher Walken is great.
He is really good.
Really, really
He's
good.
perfect Christopher Walken.
Yes. So, yeah, it was very entertaining.
We'll just do the movie and theme song rankings. Movie-wise, I put this one at 11th.
Okay.
So I put it just above Dr. No because, I mean, Dr. No, yeah, sure, it started it. It just didn't have all the elements, and that's why it still kind of lingers at the bottom.
I guess with 3.5 stars, it ends up at 12th for me.
So it is above Diamonds Are Forever and
Octopussy.
Octopussy.
Yeah.
Okay. So I wouldn't say Roger Moore went out with a fizzle. I think it's good. This is a good farewell for
I thought
Roger
it was
Moore.
fine.
And I think
it was entertaining. Yeah, he was fine. He can't help being old.
Right.
It
and
just
he realized
is,
he
right?
was done.
Yeah.
He was like, I can't do this anymore. It's the age thing. Okay. So now let's talk about song.
Yeah.
I've made my opinions very clear throughout this episode about what I think of this song.
That you barely liked it at all.
And that they were total lies. This song is easily number one for me. Not even close. I was listening to this song on repeat, like all over the last couple weeks while I was doing this movie. I bought the vinyl, I showed you the record.
Yeah,
I got the little single of this song.
Mm-hmm.
That's how much I love it. It is number one. As good as, Spy Who or as good as Nobody Does It Better is, that song was not one that I was as familiar with when I was younger. This one I've probably feel like I've heard forever, and I think it's a little better Bond song than Nobody Does It Better. Just like it's a little better Bond song than Live and Let Die. Because I feel like Live and Let Die, they were just like, hey, Paul, write a song, and he did. And it's amazing, but it doesn't necessarily connect with the movie. And I feel like this just felt more connected to the movie. So number one for me.
Yeah, it's number one for me, too.
Is it really?
Yeah.
I did not expect that.
Well, remember also, like, this was when I was in high school, right? I liked Nobody Does It Better, but I was a lot younger when that came out, right?
More of an impression on you this one was then.
Oh, yeah, this was right in my wheelhouse.
Yeah.
And I already liked Duran Duran. I mean, they were popular at the time. Oh, yeah, this is a great one.
Love it.
It's so good.
I just think it fits so well with the movie. And that's it.
Yeah.
We have a slap and tickle count. We're now up to 33 with Roger Moore's outstanding 57-year-old performance with four slap and tickles. That was his career high.
He's got to be tired at this point. I can see why he's ready to hang it up and let someone else play Bond.
Bond in a boat count stays at 9. So our next episode...
he technically went in an iceberg boat at the beginning, but that doesn't count.
No. Bond in a boat at the end, yes.
Yeah.
Next episode is The Living Daylights.
I do like that song.
With the great Timothy Dalton. And that's it. Anything else? Any closing remarks or anything?
No. Good stuff.
Right. Oh, I'm looking outside right now, and I got to say, that's just a great view.
A view to a kill.
Nice. Thanks, Charlie.
Yep. Thanks, Mike.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of Bottled in Bond. If you'd like to send us a message, you can do so at bottledinbondpod@gmail.com. Till your next briefing, pour yourself a drink, light a smoke, and find yourself a spirited companion. Goodbye.